NBC Sports presents the American Le Mans Series. It's the 2001 season, and with the Great Le Mans Endurance Race drawing closer, competition has moved to Europe for the next 10 weeks. We're at Donington Park, England, about a 2-hour drive north of London, where Audi looks to extend its amazing streak of sports car dominance. Tom Christensen put the car on the pole, the Audi R8 continuing its dominant run in qualifying. On the outside of the front row, their teammate Frank Biela qualified that car. He'll start from the second position. In row 2, it is Stefan Johansson in the customer Audi car. He crashed that at the end of qualifying yesterday. More on that in a minute. And the debut of the Chrysler prototype in racing with Olivier Beretta to start outside of row 2. The Peugeot Courage from the Pescarolo team from France starts in 5th position. In 6th, it'll be an Ascari. New look for us. We haven't seen this car in the States much. Werner Lupberger to start that machine on the outside of row 3. The Panoz team struggled in qualifying. Jan Magnussen back in 7th position. It is the customer Panoz car, last year's model, with Jay Cochran starting at 8th. Then the second of the Panoz factory machines in 9th position, with Walter Solis to start that machine. Rounding out the top 10, one of the LMP 675 cars. This is a Nissan-powered machine, with Martin O'Connell to start in the 10th position. Our GTS pole sitter is in the 11th spot overall. It's Oliver Gavin in the sleek Celine S7R. And the GT pole sitter is starting back in 14th position overall, one of those controversial BMW M3s with Frederick Ekblom.
Now, the cars are on slick tires, but there has been some gambling. The brakes are going to be stone cold. They have to be careful. They're going to get a green and they're off.
Christensen edges out Biela on the brake into Red Gate corner to take the lead. Here's Johansson up the inside with a bid for second.
Stefan Johansson has got a lot of incentive for this particular race because the Gulf colors are magic here in England. So many years John Wyer ran the famous Gulf Porsche team, having victories at Le Mans with Porsches and with Ford GT40s actually, but this car has got to be the sentimental favorite today.
So Johansson in the customer Audi splits the two factory entries into the first couple of corners on lap 1. Let's go back and reiterate. The race was declared a wet race initially, but apparently with the track drying out, all the teams were allowed to change back to slick tires on the grid. Calvin Fish can give us more on that. Calvin?
Well, it seems, guys, that no one really started the race on wet weather tires. In fact, Audi had the option of going to a softer compound because once the race is declared wet, they can change to any tire they want, but they feel it really unbalances the race car to do that at this stage of the game. So I believe the majority of the field is on slick weather tires.
And there is the star right there. That is the number 42 car that started at the back of the pack. And he's literally flying through the pack right now. He's just having great fun, dicing, cutting, flying around the track. He's able to use all of the horsepower that this new controversial 4-liter motor is putting out. And the Porsche guys are very upset about this engine. There's J.J. at work.
Oh, trouble.
Panoz. It looks like he's only hit a sign, though.
That's the customer Panoz. That's Jake Cochran, who has got it back running. Have a look at it here and see what happened. Up, got off the track to his left.
On the curb, sliding in. Oh, boy. Ooh. And I think Lure is probably doing something smart right now. He knows he doesn't have to race with the BMW under the dry conditions where they're able to use all the horsepower. They will use up more fuel. All Lucas really wants to do is to keep that car in sight. Either closing up under a pace car situation, which is always a possibility, although unlikely here in England. We have great runoff areas. Or the other thing is that they just simply have to make more pit stops because they have to feed the horses.
Now, the pass per second was quite breathtaking. Here's how it happened a minute ago while we were in the break.
Well, it really was. I think that the Gulf car tries to go inside here. It is way, way too tight. Has to get off the power. And look what this does for Biela. Biela takes a bit of a risky move, slides up right on the edge of the road. You saw a little bit of dust getting kicked up on the tires, but he was able to get under boost earlier than the Gulf car and makes a nice, clean pass on him.
Well, BMW's new 4-litre V8 motor, not a production engine, a purebred racing engine, caused problems to JJ Leto and Jörg Muller's car in qualifying when they couldn't start it officially. And now in the race, the 43 sister car has struck a misfiring problem.
This is his teammate, JJ Leto, who has also had problems. We saw Leto charging up through the field after the engine problem that kept him from qualifying started last, had moved up in 12 laps to within 3 seconds of the Porsche that is now leading the class, but then had to come down pit road.
Apparently it passed under yellow flag, which is a caution flag, really. You want to take extra caution around the yellow flags. He apparently did the pass. We did not see it, but the officials wisely pulled him in, and you saw him throw up his hands in frustration.
And we go back up now to the lead car, Tom Christensen. But he had a close call a minute ago, a close call kind of his own making.
It really was of his own making, too. He was following one of the LM675 cars. Right here we see it. A car that is equally as fast at this point in the track. Suddenly, he decides to go up the inside and look at the contact. He is lucky he did not tear a winglet off the nose of the car, but the 675 car, O'Connell's car, spins around and loses a little bit of time.
This is the Celine S7, which is leading the GT class right now. It's Ian McKellar who is in the lead. The other of the Celine cars just made a pit stop a minute ago, the Franz Conrad racing machine. And let's go to Calvin Fish, who's with the driver who just vacated that car.
Well, the Celine has certainly been the sensation in GTS this year. Oliver Gavin won at Sebring, beating the Corvettes. They're not here, Ollie, but seems like he stopped a little bit early.
Yeah, we've got a problem with the rear of the car. I'm not entirely sure what it is, but the boys had a look at it, and Franz has now got out, and he's going to try it, see how we go. But the car is oversteering hugely at the moment, which we've never ever had with this car, so maybe there's a problem.
And we've had a pit stop. Tom Christensen was on pit road in the lead Audi while we were talking to Gavin, so now he's back in third place. Frank Bieler's the leader. Stefan Johansson there in the 7 car is in second for the moment.
Golf car coming in.
Now he comes to pit road. Here's Tom Christensen in the pits. Now we got a report he made a pit stop a minute ago earlier. Very agitated.
He's angry, yeah. Look at the hand motion.
He did make 2 pit stops. The first one was for a penalty. Remember when we showed him punting the little Nissan LMP 675 car off the track? Well, he got penalized for rough driving. That was the first pit stop, and that's why he was so agitated when he came down for a scheduled stop. Second place, 52 seconds behind Christensen, is Stefan Johansson. Now third place is the other of the factory Audi R8s. That car on pit road a moment ago and lost an awful lot of time. It's 1 lap down to the race leader and 44 seconds behind second place.
They just made their scheduled stop, and then Frank Bieler got into it with some traffic out there as well. This time he wasn't as fortunate, and it really damaged the right side of the car. A little bit of bodywork damage, but more importantly, it punctured the right rear tire. So when he came in, they then took advantage of that pit stop situation to do the driver change, Bieler getting out, Pirro back into the car. As far as we know, the team is reporting that no problems with the car's handling, so it was just a flat tire.
Well, this car was lying a strong 4th place after practice, and they were holding that position in the race despite the fact that starting driver Olivier Beretta had a sticking throttle. They came in for their first scheduled pit stop and they lost 3 laps, putting a new throttle return spring on to allow Yannick Dalmas, who took over the car, to drive with some confidence. Now, whether it's confidence on his part or somebody else's, I don't know yet, because the car has just arrived unexpectedly in the pits, and as you can see, they are taping up damage on the left-hand side. One note of interest, though, this is the longest this car has ever run to date.
That's part of the reason why this car is here today. The target for Chrysler with this machine to run in the Le Mans 24-hour race in June. This is the first race that it has ever made, and a good almost 3-hour test of what to expect. This is the Celine that is leading the GTS category. Bruno Lambert driving in 9th position overall.
It's a brand new car, too. This particular Celine S7 literally had never run before coming to the track here, and one of the drivers is a local driver. Now, the Conrad car, which had won the last race at Sebring, had been running anywhere between 2.5 and 3 seconds back. Suddenly has dropped back a lot, so maybe he is having more of an oversteer problem.
Well, the Audi is in, and it's Guy Smith now getting behind the wheel of the Golf machine. Looks like a routine start, tires going on, so they're actually single stinting their tires. Most of the guys like to double stint. Tom Christensen jumps out, Ronaldo Capello jumps in. He has minimal this Donington Park racetrack. He's only got a handful of laps this weekend. Tom has done the bulk of the testing in the car.
Dramatic scenes in the BMW pit. The 42 car came in with Jörg Müller at the wheel. They completed a regular stop, but it's had damage on the right-hand side and now keeps bursting into flames around the exhaust exit port.
There is something has broken in the fuel system, and instead of dumping small amounts of fuel into the cylinder, they must be getting giant amounts.
Fuel injection?
Fuel injection. I would say a pump is broken.
Here's Emanuele Pirro getting his service. You see the fuel going in. We'll see if they change tires. It looks like they're in position to.
Yeah, although I'm curious about what that little gesture was he just made right there. He was telling somebody just to back away and not do something. I wonder if it was maybe the front tires. He might want to save a little bit of time. The other
Yeah.
thing that he did, as a matter of fact, that's exactly, he said he did not want tires. So he now is going to try and salvage track position.
And look at this now, the race for second is tightened up now as Guy Smith there in the Gulf car, there he is caught up to Pirro. So they're just about a second apart on the racetrack for second place.
And you can bet that every single person here in this huge crowd will be cheering for Guy Smith. He's trying to get by Pirro, and he's going to try him down the inside. No, back outside. He's forced him too deep. He's got it. He did a great bait job there. He made Pirro go down far too deep in the corner and just swung on the inside and took the exit.
Great job. So Guy Smith the second. Uh-oh, Jan Magnussen's in trouble, stuck in the gravel trap.
They have had the roughest weekend here. That, much to their dismay, they have not been able to get the Panoz to really work well. It's been so frustrating for all of them. They've gone through electronic gearbox problems. The cars haven't been shifting well. They've had very little downforce.
Magnussen was running in fifth. That is the other car. That's not Magnussen, so that would be Klaus Graf, who is stuck in the kitty litter, maybe in the same spot.
Well, Jan Magnussen had the off. Just before the off, he'd radioed in and said his brakes had gone away, so that explains why he did go off course. They brought the car immediately into the garage. There's something major going on the left front of the car. This is a lengthy stop. It's been a catalogue of disasters for this Panoz team this weekend. Problems with the power steering in the warm-up. They've had brake problems on the other car mainly, and then it sort of switched itself to this car this morning. Well, with the Audi situation, guys, what we have is that they're a little out of sync. Remember, the number 2 car had that flat tire, and what that means is they should be able to go the rest of the distance on gas. The number 1 car expecting a splash. But more importantly, Guy Smith driving that Golf car, he is expected in as well. I just spoke to Stefan Johansson. He says, I doubt we can get to the finish. That may cost them second place here today.
The second place car of Guy Smith is on pit road for his splash of fuel, and it has been a forever pit stop. What in the world has taken him so long?
You saw frustration right there from Guy's standpoint. I agree with him. He's saying, look, we only need a little bit of gas. Get us out of here.
And watch this. We kind of picked it up a little bit late, but he was standing there.
Oh, but even right there, you saw by his actions, he wasn't really trying to get that thing in to save half a second. And in turn, Guy is sitting in the car waving his hand in frustration.
Go, go, go. It is Dindo Capello who comes in now with just 5 minutes and 12 seconds remaining in this timed race. Here's that quick start the car moment. And he's off and gone.
That's a pretty polished stop. You saw as he came up to place, just what you pointed out with the golf team, where the fueler was very kind of lackadaisical. We're seeing a dynasty. We're seeing something that will elevate all of the other teams upward. You always try to emulate the very best. And when Tiger Woods comes out and you watch him shoot, every young boy in the country wants to play golf like Tiger. I'd like to play golf like Tiger too. Yeah. So for the Yost team, they do a magnificent job with a car that is so well engineered, and everybody now has to raise the bar to try and match them. That's good for motorsport.
Dindo Capello, the driver on board the car now, the 36-year-old Italian, has won both of the American Le Mans Series races this year, now make it 3 in a row. Checkered flag is up. Capello and his teammate Tom Christensen score the win at Donington Park, England. There is Carway coming around on his final lap to the checkered flag. Front straightaway and a class win. And a flash of the headlights to salute the team.
Yes, they're happy today.
Carway and O'Connell scoring the victory in the LMP 675 class. GTS class winner, the 41 car of Bruno Lambert and Ian McKellar, with McKellar on board as he makes his way down the final corners of Donington Park. Somebody's been off track there, a bunch of turf up on the raceway. No final pit stop needed for the 23 car, and here they come to the stripe at much reduced pace, looking like to make sure that fuel lasted the distance. And Lucas Lohr and Sasha Mawson win the GT class. Finish order of the race, and you see that it was an Audi day here at Donington Park, with Dindo Capello and Tom Christensen scoring a dominating win, their team car taking second, and the customer Audi taking third position.
That was very good, but Tom did a great job in the first 2 stints. I had just to bring the car home, and the car was very good. I could push, but we don't need it because he had the gap. Tom gain was so big that I had just to bring the car home.
Warren Carway last weekend winning in Barcelona with this car. This weekend your first win in the European Le Mans Series, and it was a pretty good one.
We can do no wrong this week. Literally last week win, pole position, win, and my baby daughter was born on Tuesday, so I'm having a good week.
Bruno Lambert, your first drive in the Celine, victory in the GTS class. Tell us, how was the car?
The car is wonderful. I mean, we just got it to the track. It was we didn't have a chance to test before, so we were a little behind as far as pace. But the car is really wonderful. It's great to drive. It handles really well. I think it has a ton of potential, and it was reliable, which is what we needed today.
Well, this is a special one. I have to thank my crew. They gave me a hard time on the radio because they were calculating every time. We were running on very lean fuel. And I ran out of fuel in my last lap, just coming in, and it was perfect calculation. Thank you, Jeff. And I was very, very nervous. I hope they don't do it to me again. This was too much. I prefer to drive quick, not like this.